Have you ever walked away from an argument wishing you had said something different? Maybe someone insulted you in front of other people, questioned your abilities, disrespected your character, or deliberately pushed your emotional buttons just to watch your reaction. At that moment, your heart began to race. Your thoughts became louder. Your emotions demanded an immediate response. You wanted to prove them wrong, to defend yourself, to say something so clever that they would never dare challenge you again. But here's the question. Did reacting actually make you stronger? Or did it simply give the other person exactly what they wanted? This is one of the oldest traps in human history. And thousands of years ago, the Stoics discovered how to escape it. They understood something that most people still struggle to learn today. The person who controls your emotions controls your life. Think about that for a moment. If one stranger can ruin your entire day with a single sentence, who is truly in control? If one criticism can steal your peace, if one insult can make you lose your composure, then your happiness isn't yours. It's being handed over to anyone willing to provoke you. That is exactly why Stoicism remains so relevant today. In a world filled with online arguments, toxic workplaces, difficult family members, and constant criticism, learning how to remain calm has become one of the greatest forms of strength. The Stoics never promised a life without difficult people. Instead, they taught us how to become people who are difficult to disturb. Imagine standing before a calm lake at sunrise. Someone throws a stone into the water. The ripples spread for a moment. Then the surface becomes still once again. Now imagine a tiny puddle. Throw the same stone, and muddy water splashes everywhere. Life presents the same challenges to everyone. The difference is not the size of the stone. It's the depth of the water. Your goal isn't to stop people from throwing stones. Your goal is to become so deep that their actions create only temporary ripples. By the end of this video, you'll understand why people try to provoke you in the first place. You'll discover 12 timeless Stoic principles for remaining calm under pressure. And you'll learn the one simple response that quietly disarms even the most difficult people. Stay with me until the end, because the final lesson may completely change the way you handle conflict for the rest of your life. If you're ready to become emotionally unshakable, let's begin. Stoic. Principle number 1. Never give someone else control of your mind. Imagine handing a stranger the keys to your house. They could enter whenever they pleased. Move your furniture, break your belongings, or leave without cleaning up the mess. It sounds ridiculous, yet many people do something even more dangerous every day. They hand strangers the keys to their emotions. Someone criticizes them. Their mood changes. Someone ignores them. Their confidence disappears. Someone insults them. Their entire day is ruined. The Stoics believed this was one of the greatest mistakes a person could make. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that another person's behavior belongs to them, but your response belongs to you. That distinction changes everything. Think about a puppet controlled by strings. Every movement depends on someone else's hand. Many people live exactly this way emotionally. Their happiness rises and falls according to other people's opinions. Their peace depends on circumstances. Their confidence depends on praise. But a Stoic refuses to become a puppet. They understand that while they cannot control another person's words, they can always control the meaning they assign to those words. Imagine someone calling an oak tree weak. Would the tree suddenly become fragile? Of course not. Reality doesn't change because someone forms an opinion about it. Neither does your value. Not everyone will appreciate your character. Not everyone will understand your journey. And not everyone deserves access to your emotional energy. The moment you stop needing approval, you stop fearing criticism, and that's where real freedom begins. The next time someone tries to provoke you, pause before reacting. Ask yourself, am I about to hand this person control over my peace? If the answer is yes, take your power back, because your mind is far too valuable to place in someone else's hands. Stoic. Principle number 2. Understand why people provoke others. Before you react to someone's words, ask yourself a different question. Why are they saying this? Most people assume an insult reveals something about the person being insulted. The Stoics saw it differently. Very often, an insult reveals far more about the person speaking. Imagine walking into a room carrying a glass full of clean water, and another person bumps into you. What spills out? Water, because that's what was inside. Now imagine the glass had been filled with mud instead. Mud would spill out. People work the same way. Pressure doesn't create character. It reveals it. When someone constantly spreads negativity, criticism, anger, or jealousy, they're revealing what's overflowing inside their own mind. Epictetus taught that people act according to what they believe is right, even when they're mistaken. That doesn't excuse harmful behavior, but it helps explain it. Many people provoke others because they're deeply insecure. Some crave attention. Others seek control. Some simply want company in their unhappiness. Think about a person carrying a heavy backpack. After hours of walking, they desperately want someone else to help carry the weight. Emotionally, many people do the same thing. They attempt to transfer their frustration onto whoever happens to be nearby. You don't have to accept the burden they're offering. Imagine someone holding out a gift. If you refuse to take it, who still possesses the gift? They do. An insult works much the same way. You don't have to accept every opinion someone offers. Some comments deserve thoughtful reflection. Others deserve quiet dismissal. Wisdom lies in knowing the difference. Stoic principle number 3. Your silence is often your greatest response. Our modern world rewards immediate reactions. Someone posts something offensive. People rush to respond. Someone criticizes you. You're expected to defend yourself instantly. Someone misunderstands your intentions. You feel pressured to explain everything. The Stoics chose another path. They understood that not every battle deserves your participation. Imagine standing before a roaring fire. If you keep throwing wood into it, what happens? The flames grow larger. Now imagine removing the fuel. Eventually, the fire dies on its own. Arguments often work exactly the same way. Many conflicts survive only because both people continue feeding them. Silence removes the fuel. This doesn't mean becoming passive or allowing injustice to continue. It means recognizing that some people aren't looking for understanding. They're looking for a reaction. Don't reward them. Seneca once observed that anger is temporary madness when two angry people argue. Neither is thinking clearly. Both become prisoners of emotion. But the person who remains calm regains the advantage. Imagine two mountains facing each other. One echoes every sound shouted toward it. The other simply stands in silence. Which appears stronger? Strength doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes, it simply refuses to be moved. The next time someone deliberately tries to provoke you, before saying anything, take one slow breath. Ask yourself, will my next sentence improve this situation or merely satisfy my emotions? That single pause has the power to change everything. 3 principles. 3 powerful reminders that your greatest strength is never found in winning arguments. It's found in mastering yourself, but this is only the beginning. Now we're going even deeper, because staying calm once or twice is one thing. Remaining calm when someone repeatedly tries to provoke you, embarrass you, or make you lose your composure. That's where true Stoic strength is revealed. Let's continue. Stoic principle number 4. Never defend yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding. You imagine trying to explain the beauty of a sunrise to someone who insists on keeping their eyes closed. No matter how clear your words are, no matter how sincere your intentions, they've already decided not to see. Many arguments work exactly like this. Some people don't ask questions because they want answers. They ask questions because they want ammunition. They don't listen to understand. They listen to interrupt, to criticize, or to prove themselves right. The Stoics recognized this pattern centuries ago. They understood that wisdom begins with knowing who deserves your energy. Imagine standing before a mirror. If the mirror is cracked, your reflection appears distorted. No matter how perfectly you stand, the problem isn't you, it's the mirror. Likewise, some people will always distort your words because they filter everything through anger, jealousy, pride, or insecurity. Trying to convince them is like trying to straighten your reflection by pushing on the glass. It never works. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that he couldn't control how others judged him. He could only control whether he acted with integrity. That lesson remains just as powerful today. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Not every accusation deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding requires an explanation. Sometimes your peaceful silence speaks louder than endless justification. Remember, people who genuinely care about the truth will eventually recognize your character. Those determined to misunderstand you rarely will. Choose your audience wisely, because your peace is far too valuable to spend on people who have already made up their minds. Stoic principle number 5. When someone insults you, look beyond the words. Imagine walking past a barking dog behind a fence. Do you stop, bark back, and spend the next hour trying to prove you're smarter than the dog? Of course not. You understand that barking is simply what the dog does. Now think about human behavior. Some people criticize everyone they meet. They gossip, complain, judge, and insult others wherever they go. Eventually you begin to realize, the problem isn't you. You're simply the latest person standing in front of someone who hasn't learned to control themselves. The Stoics encourage people to observe behavior without immediately personalizing it. Ask yourself, is this person speaking from wisdom, or from emotion, from understanding, or from insecurity? Because those are very different things. Imagine a person wearing red-tinted glasses. Everything they look at appears red, not because the world has changed, but because of the lens they're wearing. Likewise, someone filled with bitterness often sees problems everywhere. Someone consumed by jealousy assumes everyone else has bad intentions. Someone trapped by fear interprets confidence as arrogance. The lens shapes the perception, not necessarily reality. This doesn't mean every criticism should be ignored. Constructive criticism is valuable. It helps us grow. But destructive criticism usually reveals more about the emotional state of the critic than the worth of the person receiving it. Wisdom lies in separating the two. Learn from truth, ignore malice, and continue becoming the person you want to be. Stoic, principle number 6. Respond, don't react. There is a profound difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is immediate, emotional, and often impulsive. Response is thoughtful, intentional, and guided by wisdom. Imagine a skilled captain navigating a ship through a violent storm. Huge waves crash against the vessel. Powerful winds push from every direction. Does the captain panic? Does he abandon the wheel? Does he scream at the ocean? No, he remains steady. He studies the conditions, adjusts the sails, and keeps moving toward his destination. That is exactly how the Stoics approach difficult people. They understood that emotional storms are inevitable. But panic is optional. Most provocations succeed because they bypass reason and trigger emotion. Someone insults you. Your pride reacts. Someone criticizes you unfairly. Your anger demands revenge. Someone humiliates you publicly. Your ego wants immediate justice. But between every event and every reaction, there is a small space, a brief moment. Within that moment lies your greatest power. Epictetus taught that events themselves don't disturb us. Our judgments about those events do. Imagine someone calling you something that obviously isn't true. Suppose they insist you're 6 meters tall. Would you become offended? Probably not. Why? Because you know it isn't true. Now ask yourself, if another insult hurts, is it because the words possess power, or because you've temporarily given them power? This question changes everything. The next time someone tries to provoke you, don't rush to answer. Instead, pause. Take one slow breath. Observe your emotions without obeying them. Then decide, what response reflects the kind of person I want to become? Not, what response satisfies my anger? That single habit separates emotionally mature people from emotionally reactive ones. Remember, anyone can react. Very few people know how to respond, and that's exactly why calmness is such a rare form of strength. We've now explored 6 powerful Stoic principles. You're beginning to see that emotional mastery isn't about suppressing feelings. It's about refusing to let those feelings make your decisions. But the next 3 principles reveal something even more powerful. By now, you probably noticed something remarkable about Stoic philosophy. The Stoics never taught people how to win arguments. They taught people how to stop losing themselves. Because every time you sacrifice your peace just to prove a point, you've already paid too high a price. You don't become stronger because you shouted louder. You become stronger because you remained in control of yourself. These lessons aren't about appearing calm. They're about becoming calm. Because when peace becomes your natural state, provocation loses its power. Let's continue. Stoic principle number 7. Don't let your ego demand the last word. Imagine 2 people standing at the edge of a cliff. One keeps shouting just to hear their own echo. The other quietly turns around and continues walking toward their destination. Who reaches their goal first? The answer is obvious. Yet every day, people waste hours, sometimes even years, trying to have the last word. They argue online with strangers, replay conversations in their minds, and feel restless because someone else won the debate. The Stoics understood something that many people never realize. Winning an argument isn't always the same as winning in life. Sometimes, the person who keeps arguing loses far more than the person who walks away. They lose their peace, their energy, their focus, and precious time they'll never get back. Seneca warned against allowing anger to become our master, because anger doesn't simply affect one conversation. It follows us home. It steals our sleep. It changes how we treat innocent people. Or it quietly poisons the rest of our day. Ask yourself, is proving this person wrong really worth sacrificing my peace? Most of the time, the answer is no. People who are truly confident don't feel the need to convince everyone they're right. Their confidence comes from within, not from winning debates. Sometimes, silence isn't admitting defeat. It's refusing to participate in a battle that offers no reward. Stoic principle number 8. Your calmness is your greatest victory. Imagine someone trying desperately to start a fire. They gather wood, strike matches, and blow on the flames. But every time they try, rain quietly falls and extinguishes the spark. Eventually, they give up. Provocative people often behave the same way. They feed on emotional reactions. They expect anger, defensiveness, or frustration. That's the fuel they're looking for. When they don't receive it, their efforts lose momentum. Think about the most emotionally mature person you've ever met. Chances are, they weren't the loudest. They didn't constantly defend themselves. They didn't react to every criticism. Instead, they remained composed, even under pressure. That kind of calmness commands respect without demanding it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he would meet difficult people, not to become discouraged, but to become prepared. He understood that expecting perfection from others only creates disappointment. People will sometimes lie, judge, misunderstand, or disrespect you. That's part of life. Your responsibility isn't to change every difficult person. It's to ensure they don't change you. Imagine carrying a lit candle through a windy night. The stronger you protect the flame, the farther you'll travel with light. Your peace is that flame. Guard it carefully, because once it goes out, everything becomes harder to see. The next time someone insults you, instead of immediately answering, smile gently, breathe deeply, and remind yourself, my peace is worth more than this argument. That single thought can transform the entire situation. Stoic principle number 9. The one sentence that changes everything. We've reached a principle that quietly summarizes much of Stoic philosophy. When someone deliberately tries to provoke you, there is one response that can completely change your mindset. It isn't clever. It isn't sarcastic. It isn't designed to embarrass the other person. It's a quiet sentence you say first to yourself, before saying anything else. The sentence is this. This says more about them than it does about me. Think about those words. When someone lashes out in anger, what does it reveal? Their emotional state. When someone constantly insults others, what does it reveal? Their character. When someone tries to humiliate you, what does it reveal? Their values. Of course, if the criticism is true, accept it with humility and improve yourself. That's wisdom. But if it's false, why carry it? Imagine someone standing outside your home, shouting that the sky is green. Would you spend the entire afternoon arguing with them? Or would you simply recognize that reality doesn't change because someone makes a false claim? Your value works exactly the same way. Another person's opinion cannot reduce your character. Only your own actions can. Epictetus taught that if someone speaks badly about you, live in such a way that their words become unbelievable. That's one of the most powerful responses imaginable. Not revenge, not endless explanations, but consistent character. Because character speaks every single day, long after arguments have been forgotten. When someone provokes you, pause, take a breath, and quietly remind yourself, this says more about them than it does about me. Then ask, what response reflects the person I'm becoming? That simple habit will save you from countless unnecessary conflicts. We've now completed 9 of the 12 Stoic principles, but the final 3 bring everything together. In the last part of this journey, you'll discover how to become completely unshakable, why forgiveness is a form of strength, and the ultimate Stoic response that leaves even the most difficult people powerless over your emotions. Because true victory isn't changing other people. It's becoming someone they can no longer disturb. If you've made it this far, you've already taken a step that many people never take. You've chosen self-mastery over emotional reaction, reflection over impulse, wisdom over ego. And that's exactly where lasting strength begins. Throughout this journey, we've discovered that the greatest battle isn't the argument happening around you. It's the one taking place inside your own mind. You learn not to hand your emotions over to strangers. You discovered that insults often reveal more about the speaker than the person being criticized. You saw the quiet strength of silence. The wisdom of refusing to defend yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. The importance of responding instead of reacting. The confidence that comes from not needing the last word. And the life-changing reminder that another person's behavior is often a reflection of their own inner world. Now it's time for the final 3 principles. These lessons bring everything together, because becoming emotionally unshakable isn't about winning one argument. It's about changing the way you approach every challenge in life. Stoic principle number 10. Forgive without becoming weak. Many people misunderstand forgiveness. They believe forgiving someone means pretending nothing happened, accepting disrespect, or inviting harmful people back into their lives. The Stoics taught something very different. Forgiveness isn't about approving someone's actions. It's about refusing to let those actions continue controlling your mind. Imagine carrying a burning piece of charcoal in your hand because you're waiting for the perfect moment to throw it at someone. Who gets burned first? You do. Resentment works exactly the same way. Every day you replay old insults. Every day you relive betrayal. Every day you feed anger. You keep the wound alive. Meanwhile, the other person may have already moved on with their life. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that people often act out of ignorance rather than wisdom. That didn't excuse harmful behavior, but it helped him avoid becoming consumed by hatred. Forgiveness doesn't require forgetting, and it certainly doesn't require abandoning healthy boundaries. You can forgive someone and still choose not to trust them again. You can release anger and still walk away from a toxic relationship. Those two things can exist together. Real forgiveness is freedom. Freedom from carrying emotional burdens that no longer serve you. Because the lighter your heart becomes, the stronger your mind grows. Stoic principle number 11. Become so peaceful that chaos cannot reach you. Imagine a lighthouse standing on a rocky shoreline. Every day, massive waves crash against it. Powerful winds shake the coast. Storms come and go. Yet the lighthouse remains exactly where it belongs. Its purpose never changes. Its light never stops shining. The Stoics believed that every person should strive to become like that lighthouse. Not because life will become easier, but because your inner stability shouldn't depend on changing circumstances. Many people experience emotional highs and lows every single day. One compliment makes them feel unstoppable. One criticism destroys their confidence. One success fills them with hope. One setback convinces them to quit. Their emotions constantly rise and fall with external events. But imagine living differently. Imagine remaining humble when praised, calm when criticized, patient during delays, and grateful even in difficult seasons. That kind of emotional stability is incredibly rare and incredibly powerful. People will notice it. Not because you demand attention, but because calmness naturally stands out in a noisy world. Your peace becomes your greatest strength. Not your wealth, not your status, not your reputation. Because everything external can be taken away, but a disciplined mind remains yours. Protect it, nurture it, and never trade it for temporary satisfaction. Stoic principle number 12. Say only this. We've reached the final principle, the lesson that quietly brings together everything you've learned. Throughout this journey, you've probably expected one magical sentence. One perfect comeback that instantly silences difficult people. But Stoicism offers something far more powerful. The first words you should say aren't necessarily spoken out loud. They're spoken within, when someone tries to provoke you. Pause. Take one slow breath, then quietly remind yourself, I choose peace over proving a point. That simple sentence changes everything, because it shifts your focus away from the other person and back to the only person you truly control, yourself. Once you've made that decision internally, if a response is still necessary, keep it short, respectful, and emotionally neutral. Sometimes the most powerful words you can calmly say are, you're entitled to your opinion, or I understand that's how you see it, or simply, thank you for sharing your perspective. Notice what these responses do. They don't fuel the argument. They don't insult the other person. They don't surrender your dignity. They simply refuse to feed unnecessary conflict. And if the conversation serves no purpose, walk away. Not because you've been defeated, but because you've realized your peace is worth more than winning an argument. The Stoics believed that the strongest people don't always have the sharpest words. They have the greatest self-control. Anyone can react. Few people can remain composed. Anyone can raise their voice. Few people can lower their ego. Anyone can seek revenge. Few people can choose wisdom. That is why emotional mastery is one of the greatest achievements a human being can attain. Final reflection. Take a moment to think about every lesson we've explored together. You learned that no one can control your emotions unless you allow them. You discovered why people provoke others. You embraced the strength of silence. You stopped trying to convince those determined to misunderstand you. You learned to observe criticism instead of immediately absorbing it. You practiced responding instead of reacting. You released the need to have the last word. You protected your peace. You understood that another person's behavior often reflects their own struggles. You embraced forgiveness. You became like the lighthouse. And finally, you discovered the most powerful response of all, choosing peace over pride. Remember, every day life will present opportunities to practice these principles. Someone may criticize you unfairly. Someone may test your patience. Someone may try to pull you into unnecessary conflict. Those moments aren't interruptions to your growth. They are your growth, because philosophy means very little until it becomes action. Reading about patience doesn't make you patient. Practicing patience does. Reading about self-control doesn't make you disciplined. Choosing discipline in difficult moments does. Reading about wisdom doesn't make you wise. Living wisely does. The Stoics understood that character isn't built during easy times. It's revealed during difficult ones. That's why they welcome challenges. Not because suffering is enjoyable, but because every challenge offered another opportunity to strengthen the mind. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, don't ask, "How can I defeat this person?" Ask, "How can I become a better version of myself through this moment?" That single question transforms conflict into growth. It transforms insults into lessons. And it transforms ordinary people into extraordinary ones. Years from now, people may admire your calmness, your confidence, and your emotional strength. They may wonder how you remain so peaceful while everyone else loses control. You'll know the answer. It wasn't because life stopped testing you. It was because you stopped allowing every test to control you. If this video helped you see conflict in a new way, let me know in the comments. What is one Stoic principle you'll begin practicing today? Your answer could inspire someone else who needs this message. If you found value in this journey, don't forget to like this video because it helps spread these timeless Stoic teachings to more people. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more videos about Stoicism, self-mastery, emotional resilience, and ancient wisdom for modern life. Until next time, protect your peace. Master your emotions. Choose wisdom over impulse. And remember, the most powerful person in any argument is the one who never allows someone else to take control of their mind.